How important is it that Ilhan Omar has been bounced from the very prestigious and powerful House Foreign Affairs Committee, and why is this a story for us here in India? I've explained some of it, but I want to get the views from our two leading guests on 5 Live today. Smita Prakash, editor, Asian News International. She's commented quite a bit on this development today, but I'd like to start with Suhag Shukla, executive director of the American Hindu Foundation. Suhag Shukla, welcome. Thank you very much for being with us here on India Today and on 5 Live. How important is the fact that Ilhan Omar has been voted off this House Committee on Foreign Affairs? And, why do you think it is being welcomed by so many sections here in India, including yourself?
Right. Well, the House Foreign Affairs Committee is a very important committee that drives and shapes the United States foreign policy. And so to have someone who in the past has denied genocides, such as voting present on the Armenian genocide, has promoted or pushed resolutions, as your reporter had mentioned,
yes.
House Resolution 1196, this has an impact on the U.S.'s reputation in terms of its understanding of global trends. It impacts an already positive and robust U.S.-India relation by adding distractions to it. And it also leads to instability in a democracy when you have these sorts of diversions being pushed through when time should be spent on more serious issues like
yes.
fighting terrorism, like calling out human rights challenges across the globe. So I know that, I'm actually here in India and I've been watching the news stories and the celebrations of it. It's a big deal, but I don't think we should lose sight of the fact that there's probably some politics at play, and these are kind of the political dynamics that are happening on the ground in the United States. When the Democrats had the House, they also ousted 2 Republicans off
yes.
of committees. And now we're seeing kind of the same, but in the case of Representative Omar, she has made a number of controversial statements that were perceived as anti-Semitic.
Right.
And we know that the resolution had not just misinformation, but painted a wildly inaccurate picture of India and the state of interreligious relations here.
Indeed, and things came to a head, Smita, to pull you in on this, when she made that so-called personal visit, unofficial visit to Pakistan, where she met all of the leadership. Then she went to POK as well. There was a very strong reaction, unusually strong reaction from the Indian External Affairs Ministry at that time as well. So how do you see what has happened today?
Well, Shiv, I think it's a great big deal. I'm glad finally justice is done and Ilhan Omar got her just desserts. Maybe it's for an anti-Semitic comment, but I'm not looking at a gift horse in the mouth. I'm just glad it's happened. It's not because of Republican or Democrat that it happened. Like Alexandria Cortez has pointed out in her speech, that there were others who have said this. So yeah. It's quite clear that Ilhan Omar has a clear bias against Israel and the Jewish people. She cannot be expected to be objective on that panel, and we as Indians know that she's not objective, as you pointed out in your monologue initially and in the report, that she went out there to Pakistan, she met with, and supposedly on this personal visit. So who's funded that visit? It's still in the grey. Nobody knows who funded that visit. Did she take it out of her own money, or did Ghulam Fai fund that visit? Who knows, right? She goes to Pakistan, she meets with all those guys, and Pindi probably drafted that resolution against India when she went out there, because the US State Department washed its hands off and said, we've got nothing to do with it. Her agenda was so clear. She meets the newly appointed Prime Minister, I'll never say elected in Pakistan, Shahbaz Sharif. She meets the predecessor, Imran Khan. Now, why that? But nobody knows. And then she introduces this resolution in the U.S. House of Representatives to condemn supposed human rights abuses in India. In that visit to POK and in that visit to Pakistan, she obviously didn't know anything about the Pashtun March. She didn't know anything at all about human rights abuses which are happening in Pakistan. But without coming to India, she is aware about the human rights, so-called human rights abuses in India, and then introduces this. She is just similar to what we have experienced in India with Robin Rafale. She is a mirror image of that, of Robin Rafale, the mother of Hurriyat, as she was called. So, you know, this rabidly anti-India person, so if she goes out because of her anti-Semitic comments, it's fine by us.